How are you getting on, folks? Um, look, I took the day off there today simply because um, it was mad open racing. Like realistically, it was a day where I suppose it wasn't necessarily for the betting perspective. It was more so to just, I suppose, to enjoy the spectacle and to just enjoy great racing altogether. Now, I suppose, look at saying that, I probably would have put up a couple of winners there today. Nothing really major. Um, I think the best of the bet would have been Sky Ace, which I did actually put up on the Patreon site at 8-1 last night. Turned out to be a very, very nice winner altogether. But look at, we're going to crack on for tomorrow, Grand National Day. I couldn't leave it out. It's simple as that. It's definitely great, great racing on the cards, and overall, it looks to be a very, very decent day's racing altogether. I'll be doing the double header. I'll be doing Cork and Fairyhouse now tomorrow. Um, we will start, I suppose, in alphabetical order, and we'll start off with Cork. Um, Looks to be a fairly nice enough card. There's a 4-7, 4-1, 10-1, uh 9-2, 10-3, 8-1. So there's a bit of value in Cork. There's nothing really, I suppose, really stand out when you look at what I have for Fairyhouse, but definitely if we can get a couple of those winning for us now tomorrow, it's definitely going to pay out a fairly nice sum. Now moving on there to the first race, the one, is it the 150? I'm looking at today's race and now just bear with me. 150, first race off, and I cannot look past the odds on favourite here. Mr. Josie Wales at 4-7. Now, look at, when you're looking, trying to find anything that's going to take it on here at any real each way value, there's nothing really standing out, in my opinion. Um, there's, I suppose, a couple of unraced sorts that we wouldn't really necessarily know too much about unless we went into the breeding side of things. But when you just look into Josie Wales, Mr. Josie Wales's last run, when it was 12 lengths behind Noble Yates. Now, Noble Yates is what I would describe as Cheltenham standard. Now, this horse, he's definitely got plenty of boot, plenty of kick. The way he won in Navan that particular day, and the way he won in Thurles, was it the time before in Thurles or the time after? The time, two times before it, he won very, very considerably well that particular day. He really, really put in a stellar performance, you could say, and it was definitely, it definitely showed plenty of potential stardom more so than anything else. Now this lad was 12 lengths in behind. That form definitely does stand up in my books. Um, I definitely think Noble Yates has got a bright, bright future ahead of him, and the field quality here is definitely diminished an awful lot since meeting Noble Yates that particular day. I think all he has to do is stay on his feet. He should be winning this race. I'm not even going to try and pick a horse to take him on with. I think he's just too good. Not really a betting race, I suppose. Look at, if you're going to be betting, I would be suggesting not really to go all in on this lad, but probably half your stake and maybe put it into a double or a treble or whatever you want to do with it. Um, Now moving on to the next race, the 225, and this one here is going to hold the card in the nap of the day, and a 4-1 nap at that, with Quarry Lil for Paul O'Flynn and Gary Noonan taking £7 off. This one here looks to be, like, realistically, I know it's the favorite, but it looks to be very well thrown in here. Um, it's been on a flying roll, and it's been on in flying form. When you look at the last couple of runs, one of them was in Clonmel, two of them were actually in Clonmel. Both of them were on soft and or soft to heavy and heavy ground. Now, I've always said that this horse was better on good ground. I was there when it won. Um, just looking now, when did it win in Clonmel? On good ground. It was on the 5th of September 2019. Now that was a very, very decent run that day. It put in a very, very decent performance. It was ahead of the Three Wizards, who was highly touted that particular day. I remember hearing a few whispers of it being a potential superstar. Now the Three Wizards hasn't really amounted to anything yet, and it hasn't really amounted to anything really considerable. But look, at realistically, it was a fairly decent point to point and one that day, and I know Paul O'Flynn was fairly, if I can remember correctly, he was fairly excited about this horse in the parade ring anyway that particular day. He was going around with a bit of a spring in his step, and especially when it stormed up the hill, the three or four in line. Going back to my memory now, it was three or four in line going up to the last, and Quarry Lil just, I suppose, kicked on clear. It was well gambled that day. I'd imagine now this horse is going to be well supported again, being in the local track for Paul O'Flynn in Cork. I'd say he's definitely going to put in a fairly decent performance. When you look at the likes of West Cork Wildway there today, put in an absolutely stellar performance there today. His yard is absolutely flying. The whole list of horses that he has, they're all in flying form, and they're all putting in some very credible runs. I think Quarry Lil at 4-1 is definitely well worth the nap of the day, and in my opinion, is going to take some plenty of stopping. 3 o'clock. Winox comes in here at 5-4 and a fairly short price favourite at that. Looks to take some stopping, but it has gone up £11. I will be taking it on that today. And this one here is going to be going with the Paul Nolan trained Crazy Heart, with Adam Williams taking £7 off. Now look at this one here is 10-1. But when you look down through the form, it tends to need the run over hurdles. And when you look at the overall form of this particular horse, it's 2 from 17 for chasing wins, and 7 of those have been placed. So you're looking at 9 out of 17 being in the top 2 or top 3. So that realistically says to me that this horse is definitely 50% consistent, even a little bit more than that as well. So you're nearly guaranteed at an each way price. If you're going to have a small each way, you're either going to have a good run or you're not. And I know that's a fairly broad statement to make, but looking at this lad's statistics, 50% of his runs have resulted in placed attempts. Now, Paul Nolan has been in fairly hot and cold form this season. He's definitely hot at the moment. He's put up some very decent winners, and obviously, look at with tomorrow, him having the favorite for the national, he's definitely a man in serious form, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Crazy Heart, I suppose, overturn the odds with Winox at a price of 10-1. I think he's a little bit overpriced. He's well worth in each way, and I think he's definitely going to go very, very close now tomorrow. 3:35. This one here is going to be a no bet race. I think the bookies are having people on. I think it's a bit of a disgrace the way the race is lined out. You have a 4-5 favorite, you have an 11-10 second favorite. The punters have no chance in this race. Anything really down the line, you're sort of wasting your time really backing, because they have miles to find with the top 2 in the market, and the top 2, there's no real value in any of them. More than likely, the Ford Chill is going to win at 4-5. Clown's Glory is more than likely going to finish in second. But even if you're going to be backing without the favourite, there's absolutely no price for Clown's Glory. I think the two of them are going to be well clear. Realistically, it's going to take a mistake for one of the others to feature, and I'm personally not going to be of the opinion that you'd be backing on something like that to happen. I'm not one to take a bet on something like that actually happening in a race like this, and I certainly won't be doing that tomorrow. I think the bookies have definitely made idiots of the punters really, and it's a bit of a disgrace. But yeah, look, if you're going to be looking for a winner, I think the Forge Hill has that little bit more in hand, especially coming from Sean Farmer Dial. A man in serious form. 405 then. And I am personally going to be siding with Dento Des Obo for Eugene Turley or Patrick Turley and Cormac Abernathy claiming £2. This one here is currently priced at 9 to 2. Obviously, look at Patrick Turley has been in some serious form since taking out the license there. Was it this year or last year? I think it was last year he took out the license. Obviously, look at he's a northern-based trainer, so it's interesting the fact that he's coming down to Cork, traveling the length and breadth of the country. Obviously, look at with the, I suppose, with the likes of Mig the Tyon, he's been a bit of a revelation for this trainer. But this lad isn't too far off him. He was second last time out in Downpatrick in his local local track behind Big Leg Up, Tara Shar, Singing Banjo, Fizz on the Moo, Save Us Avi, Michael's Pick, Arctic Comet fell, Duty Calls fell, Carrick Hill pulled up, Pyrus pulled up, Semester unseated, and St. Benedict unseated. Now, that form doesn't really hold up because I'm not 100% sure on most of those horses. The only ones that really catch my eye are St. Benedict, and he unseated the rider, so you can't really say that he held up the form with him. But realistically, he's been fairly well placed. He's the form line reads 3-4-3-2-5-2. So when you're thinking about it this way, like he's been thereabouts. He's coming from a yard that's been absolutely flying this year. They're traveling. I'd say it's about a 4 or 5 hour drive, especially with the horse box or whatever he's going to be bringing. He can't go too fast with the horse on behind, or else it'll be like a chip fan opening up by the time he gets down to Cork. But realistically, this lad is he looks to be a nice enough sort for Patrick Turley, and he looks to possibly maybe cause a bit of an upset here. I think 9 to 2 is a little bit overpriced. I think he's I suppose depending where you're shopping, he could be worth a bit of an each way. If he's out at maybe around 5 to 1, maybe if he drifts out, but by the time the race is on, he's definitely well worth an each way. But I think there's something about him. I think he's going to possibly overturn the favorite here, and he should be definitely very hard to stop if that's the case. 440 is going to be my patron pick of the day. This one here I won't be covering. The next race off, the 5:15. This one here is going to be going with the next best of the day, and this one here is going to be going with the Arthur Moore stable. Young Darlene, currently priced at 10 to 3. Ridden by Mr. B.T. Stone, claiming £7. Now, I don't know Mr. B.T. Stone, or I don't know if it's Barry Stone or Brian Stone, but I'm just going to call it as it is, Mr. B.T. Stone. Now, this lad here, he was third on his last outing, and I'm just going to run through the form of that. Chosen Port, Western Zara, Young Darlene, Let the Truth Be Known, Craftman's Daughter, Light Heidi, Focus on the Line pulled up, and Sam Crow's Sister pulled up. Now, you look at the winner. He's finished second, sixth, and third on his next three. The second finished first in Clonmel last time out. A 10-length winner at that, beating the likes of Wild Eileen, Little Token, Moonlight Symphony, More Wine Lily. More Wine Lily hasn't boosted the form, but Hill of Truth, Miss Us O, Red Finch, Victory Sign, Ebony Wave, Maller Storm. Humble Glory was the one that fell in that race, and Humble Glory looked like it was going to win, but this Western Zara was definitely well clear at that stage. This one here was only 5 lengths in behind it that day, in its point to point in Ballycahan. I suppose coming from the Arthur Moore stable, Arthur Moore has been in some fairly decent form. He's 1 from 3, so he's got a 33% strike rate. I think the favorite in here, he's put up performance ratings of 82. I think he's well worth taking on at that sort of a price at 11-4. Especially with the form being boosted of young Darlene, I think it's definitely well worth considering. Um, I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be his only runner of the day in Cork. Now, I could be totally wrong with that. I haven't actually looked into it, but it's the first I've seen of Arthur Moore having a runner in Cork tomorrow. So I definitely think it's well worth considering, and it should definitely be available at 10-3. Um, Now, moving on to the next race of the day, the last race. I think this is a bumper, isn't it? It is a bumper. Obviously, look at Denise Foster has the sharp price favorite in here. I'm going to be personally going against it. I'm going to be going with Paddy the Horse for Terence O'Brien and Danny Allen. This one here is currently priced in around 8-1. I think this one here has a serious chance. Realistically, I think it's got a great each way chance. It was left clear on its last point to point when it won fairly handily. But Terence O'Brien, obviously being a local trainer as well down in Cork, he's definitely well worth considering, I suppose. And obviously, look at the farm line reads 4-2-1. So look at make of it what you will. I think he's got a great overall chance. I think he's got potentially a bit of potential about him. I think if I suppose taken to the rule events, he's definitely well worth considering when you think of the favourite put in a first and a third with the it was 28 lengths behind Noble Yates in Thurles that particular day. Now, obviously, look what I said. Noble Yates was definitely well worth considering, but I suppose look at if the form stands up in whatever race it was, say going on about Noble Yates earlier on in the video, I think the favourite is definitely coming in here with a serious chance. But just I suppose as a value perspective, I think Paddy the Horse, he's definitely well worth considering each way. I think overall you could be at worse, and you could be picking worse horses at bigger prices as well. I just think it's definitely well worth considering. Now, moving on to Fairyhouse tomorrow. This one here, there's some lovely, lovely prices for Fairyhouse tomorrow if all things go well. You have the likes of 15-2, 7-2, 16-1, 11-4, 66-1 in the big one, and 7-2 nap of the day. Now, this one here, look at. I'm not saying I'm going to have loads of winners in Fairyhouse. I'm not saying anything like that, but I do have plenty of good cases about them. I definitely think every one of them has a serious enough chance and a serious case to be made about them anyway at whatever price they are. I just think, look at potentially we might have a bit of luck. We've had a bit of a bad run in the past couple of times, and look at hopefully our luck is going to start changing from now on. But look at we're going to give it a bash anyway. We're going to hopefully overturn the bookies now tomorrow. First race off, the 205, and this one here I will be personally siding with Kerry Bryan's charge here now, with French Light coming in here at 15-2. Now this one here is partnered with Richie Condon taking £7 off. I think this horse has a serious chance. When you look at the form lines of this, and when you look at the potential this horse has, Kerry Bryan has always said this horse wants good ground and wants better ground. And she, I suppose, with no fault of her own, she's been racing him on softer ground than what he'd like. But he's always put in a very decent performance, and he's always put up a very, very good case against some very, very talented horses, against some grade one horses. You look at the likes of being second to the Devil's Coachman, who I would rate as a potential grade one winning horse. I know he didn't really show it there today, but that was a very, very hot heat. When you look at the likes of Master McShee, obviously the Willie Mullins horse that looked like it was pulling the cart in behind, that was definitely well thrown in. There's no doubt about it. Like he was well primed for that. But the second to the Devil's Coachman, I wouldn't be looking into today too much. I think overall the Devil's Coachman is definitely one of the best novices we have in the country. And obviously, look at French Light coming in here at 15 to 2. Is that an each way price? I would be suggesting each way, but don't be surprised to see French Light getting his head in front. Kerry Bryan only has a few, I don't know, is it a few days or a few weeks left in Ireland, but I know her time is coming short. She'll be going back to America very, very shortly now. But I just think potentially if this horse is ready to go and ready to run, he's definitely of a standard to be able to win a race like this. And I think 15 to 2 is definitely well worth getting on behind. More than likely are going to be looking at a fairly decent sort. Now moving on to the 240, and this one here could be a little bit controversial. Tiupo is coming in here at 8 to 11, an undefeated horse, unraced on anything bar soft or heavy ground. Now look at, we don't know how good this horse is going to be tomorrow, simply because the ground is drying out by the second. The weather that we've been having in Ireland has been almost tropical for the past couple of days. I think this horse wants a bit of a bog, and I think this horse will need a bit of a bog to get home. Now, saying that, it's a very talented horse, and I'm not saying anything different, but would I be getting on board at 8 to 11? I don't think I would, simply because I just potentially think there's better horses at better prices. And Jeff Kidder coming in here at 4 to 1. I really, really like the look of this lad. Obviously, look at, it was a very, very nice winner in Cheltenham last time out. In the Fred Winter off 125. He's running off 130 now. He looks to be well thrown in. The good ground is starting to come into his favor as well. He's a course and distance winner. I think 4 to 1 is great value coming from Noel Mead, a man in serious form. When you look at the talent this lad has shown and the I suppose the overall potential, like he had Zafanian in behind him, and Zafanian obviously put up a very, very decent performance. It probably the most unlucky winner of the day there today, but Jeff Kidder had him well covered that day. I think overall 4 to 1 is definitely much better value. It's definitely not going to be a walkover for Tiupo. Look at whether Tiupo wins or not, I don't really know. I think he's definitely coming in here with a serious chance. But I just would be concerned about the ground. I don't think it's going to be in his favor. I think Jeff Kidder is definitely going to appreciate it more. And therefore, 4 to 1 is definitely going to be the next best of the day for me. 3:15, the next race off of the day. And this one here, what did I go for in this one? I am going to be going with the first each way for the I suppose the Fairyhouse picks, and this one here is going to be at 20 to 1, and this one here for It Could Be You, a former course winner. Obviously look at this one here coming in at 20 to 1, trained by Tom Mullins, ridden by Danny. Realistically, this one here has to come in here with a serious chance. Tom Mullins is 2 from 7 in the past 2 weeks, so he's running off a 30% strike rate. He didn't necessarily have the best of day today. I can't think of any winners that he had off the top of my head. So realistically, you would be certainly considering that he might get in the shake up here. When you look at the form lines of this lad, it's something serious. Like when you look at his last run, 4 to 13 behind the likes of You Raise Me Up, Petty Benam, Feel Good Island, ahead of the likes of Jevray, History of Fashion, James Ford, All About Joe, Rebel Ivy, Griffith Park, Classic Storm, Coleman, Catalina. Like that's decent enough form. Now I know it's the bottom of the market, wouldn't really suggest that, but realistically, it's definitely great overall form. Second in Fairyhouse behind It Could Be You. Or was that a win? I think it's a win. It was a win. Yes, he was actually promoted. That's where I was getting confused. He actually got promoted to first on the back of a Stewart's Inquiry. He was just a short head behind Mind Your Money. Very, very talented horse. Calagogo for formerly of Gordon Elliott. Quite incredible. Rightful Mind, Maneuver, Baha Castle, Ale Rock, Lucy Van Pelt, decent enough horses in their own rights. Like realistically, this lad here at 20 to 1, it's a bit of an insult for him, really. Like it's an open enough race, and overall, he hasn't necessarily been in bad form. He's put up some fairly decent runs over Fairyhouse, and he should like the track. He should like conditions. I think 20 to 1 is definitely well worth getting on each way in behind. 350, the next race off of the day. This one here, I will be siding with the bosses, Oscar for Denise Foster and Jack Kennedy, currently priced at 3 to 1. Now, this lad here, he is so incredibly consistent, but it's all about getting his head in front. He's been second the last 3 times, second of 20 in Navan, behind Flooring Porter. Obviously, look at Cheltenham winner. Second of 20 behind Dandy Mag, and second of 22 behind Mrs. Milner. That was in Cheltenham. So look, realistically, this lad here is coming in here in serious form. Like those 3 horses alone have been absolutely incredible this year. The likes of Flooring Porter, Mrs. Milner, obviously, look at it was a bit of a, it seems to be a bit of a plot job now, but generally has been running some fairly consistent races, and I know it's put up some fairly consistent runs over the winter on the likes of Dundalk and everything else like that. But obviously, then look at the last race it won. It was ahead of Right Place, Right Time. Go another one for John McConnell, Robin De Foray, Jam Summers, Stu Reward, Elegant Dan, Hurricane Darwin, To Be Lucky. Like that's decent form. Like regardless what people say, it's decent form. I think he has the edge over Beacon Edge. I think most of the field in behind the likes of French Dynamite, Mouse Morris's yard hasn't necessarily been in great form. Stormy Ireland is definitely very interesting coming back to Willie Mullins now. Possibly look, it has seen better days, but overall it's definitely dangerous enough to write off. Unexpected Depth, Scarpetta, Turnbike Trip, Hannon is definitely very interesting. I definitely would be thinking maybe Hannon might get a bit of a lead and just, I suppose, take the bull by the horns and maybe get a lead that's unassailable for this field. And I think 33 to 1 is definitely considerable for an each way here, but overall the boss's Oscar looks to be the standout horse of the race, and he should be very hard to beat. Now moving on to the next race, the 420 is going to be is going to be my other patron pick of the day, so I won't be covering that. 5 o'clock, the big one here. Obviously, look at the Grand National. The standout horse of the race is Latest Exhibition. Now, would I be backing it at 5 to 1? I'd probably have maybe a fiver on it. I wouldn't be going hell for leather. But I suppose it's it's a little bit short for my liking. The big dog is also very interesting. Espinito Bello, you can't write him off. Ascaria 10 is definitely interesting at 16 to 1. It's definitely well worth in each way. But the one that I'm liking and the biggest price of the lot was the fourth in the last renewal of this race. That being Liam Cusack and Richie Deegan for Snugsborough Benny at 66 to 1. Now, why this horse is 66 to 1 is it's not necessarily a head scratcher. I know, look at the horse hasn't really been in form and he has getting on in life now. He is an 11-year-old, but the horse has form over this course and distance. He has the form over this sort of a race. Realistically, it's going to be run to his favor. He's going to be held up in the back and he's just going to be let plod along and just basically pass beaten rivals, stay out of trouble, I would imagine. Owned by the Lucknan family, a couple of very good friends of mine. I know I've known Rebecca, the daughter, for years now at this stage, but I just want to wish all of the Lucknan family the very best of luck tomorrow. I think 66 to 1 is definitely a bit of an insult for a horse that's won the Galway Blazers, was 5th in the Galway Plate, and was 4th in the Irish Grand National, the last running of it. I think it's well worth in each way. You're probably going to get 5 or 6 places for it. Look at this, the look of the draw. Really, all it has to do is really get home, and it's run a very good race. Like, you hate seeing any horse to fall to his peril on a racetrack, but this lad in particular, like, he's definitely been a great servant for the family, and I want to wish you all the very, very best of luck tomorrow. It's going to be a great race, and look at hopefully Benny gets home safe and sound anyway, and that's the main thing at the end of the day. Finally, then, the last race of the day, and this one here, we're going to save the best to last. We're going to go for the nap of the day. I'm personally going to be going with Lord Lariat for Carl Thornton and Jody McGarvey, the man of the moment, currently priced at 4-1. Now, this one here has been ultra consistent. It's going to love Fairyhouse tomorrow. Generally a very, very decent stayer. He likes to be held up in the back and just, I suppose, cruise his way on into the lead, and turning in, he's going to hopefully be there in the firing line and just, I suppose, pick them off from there, really. I think this lad has a great overall chance. He's coming in here on the back of a course in this, or not in the back of a course and distance win, but he won I think a similar enough race to this off 11 pounds lower. Like, it's definitely interesting. I think, obviously, look at the fact that he has course form, he has distance form. He's going to be a hard enough horse to stop. It's a wide open race, and anything can win this, but I love Lord Lariat, and I think the way he runs and the way this race is going to pan out tomorrow, I think it's going to suit him down to the ground, and I think 4-1 is definitely a bit of an insult, and he should be an awful lot shorter than that, and therefore that is why he is going to be my nap of the day. Now, look at, I want to wish you all the very, very best of luck tomorrow. I know, look at, a couple of my selections, or most of my selections, we'll call a spade here now. Most of my selections haven't really turned to gold, let's just say, over the past week or so. I want to thank all of you for continuing to support me. And look at, hopefully by this time tomorrow, we'll be on the back of plenty of winners, and hopefully Snugsborough Benny can win the Irish Car National at 66-1 and absolutely cause a bit of a ruckus here. But look at, for those who want to sign up to the Patreon, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Basically what it is €10 a month. It helps fund the Irish Racing Hour podcast, which is a podcast there to give, I suppose, workers in the industry that don't necessarily get the credit that they deserve, a bit of airtime and a bit of thanks and a bit of credibility, which is what we do and what we're about. Like I said, the patron service is how we fund that podcast. Like I said, €10 a month, it gets you daily tips. We tipped up an 8-1 winner and a 5-4 winner there today. We had 2-1 winners and a 4-1 winner. I think it was the day before, or one of the days anyway. One of the days at the start of the month, and we had a nice winner from Dean there earlier on the week as well. So look, realistically, we do our living best to get you all paid back and get you all in profit from, I suppose, a few bets. And as well as that, we do monthly giveaways. This month we're giving away a cash giveaway, because what's better than picking out winning bets than giving away free cash as well. So look at it, it's a win-win situation for you if you sign up. €10 a month won't break the bank. It's only the cost of a couple of pints, but it really, really helps us out at the end of the day. Look at, like I said, very, very best of luck tomorrow if you're going to be having a bet. And if not, please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you very, very much, and the very, very best of luck tomorrow.